Frog Tony's back in town today. Hopping high, he's here to stay. Everyone can feel the vibe. Chosen one of CG's tribe. Jumping in with flaring grace. Half-face smiles on every face. Ribbit, and off we go. Tony's the star of the show. Bow down to Tony. He's the frog, our one and only. Chosen one, we've waited so long. Now he's back to right every wrong. Leaping through the streets at night, bringing joy and pure delight. Crowds are cheering everywhere. Frog Tony's back without a care. Left and hopping right, sparking magic in the night. CG's hero love so true. Tony's here for me and you. Bow down to Tony. He's the frog, our one and only. Chosen one, we've waited so long. Now he's back to right every wrong. Bow down to Tony. He's the frog, our one and only. Chosen one, we've waited so long. Now he's back to right every wrong. Every wrong! Leaping through the streets at night, bringing joy and pure delight. Crowds are cheering everywhere. Frog Tony's back without a care. Hopping left and hopping right, sparking magic in the night. CG's hero love so true. Tony's here for me and you. Me and you. Every wrong!
Good afternoon, meatbags. It is the often imitated, never duplicated, chosen one of CG, Chicano Stan Lee, and always honest Frog Tony. Guys, this is episode 5 of the Frog Tony Show, and the last time you're going to get it for free. Guys, that's it. If you're not a member, you will not be able to watch this live going forward. And if you're not a bigger member, if you're not a Toad level membership, you won't be able to watch this anytime you want. So guys, definitely think about getting a membership, joining up. It helps the channel, it helps me, it helps you get great content. Last week we had Ethan Ralph. This week we got WunGun coming in. He's going to join us for the entire show. Unlike last week, we're going to do it a little different. Last week was an interview with Ethan Ralph. It was almost an afternoon with Ethan Ralph, but this time WunGun's going to come in and we're going to talk a little bit about him, but also he's going to participate in some of the things that I want to discuss this week. Before we bring him out, I definitely need you talk about the wild and wacky world that I've been living in, man. So as we all know, last week we didn't talk about it because, again, we had Ethan Ralph on, but as you guys all may or may not be aware of, the comic script got leaked. It's all over the place on Kiwi Farms, and I think I'm a little disappointed. So, like, no one's really talking about. We had Dean and Vicky did a video on it, and Sturgis, he did like a little, not even a video, he just did like a little segment in a live stream that he didn't even clip out. He didn't even clip out the segment in the live stream. He just did, a little bit and talked about it. And then he had Homeless Larry on, but then Homeless Larry, he didn't talk about it. It was, like I said, it was really disappointing, right? Like, I was really disappointed. I thought there was going to be a lot of people covering it, a lot of people talking about it, good or bad. And there really wasn't, and I was shocked, almost in a state of disbelief. I don't know if this bodes well for the comic, right? Because, word of mouth, people talking about it, people being interested. Like, they're not even interested to read it when it's just in script form for free. How am I going to get people to buy it, right? That's a tough pill to swallow. But hopefully, like I said, because there's no visuals in the script other than like the first page had some like AI art that I added to piss off Pinbar. That's the other thing, right? So I talked about it a little bit the other day, but I think there's like a fundamental misunderstanding what it is that they're reading, like the people that did read it, right? Like they're taking the art direction as if it's like narration boxes or something, right? Like that stuff is not going to be included. There will be a visual. It's comic book, guys. There'll be a visual. So like when it says like Frogman standing outside eating an ice cream cone, that's not going to be there because he'll literally be standing there eating an ice cream. I don't have to say he's doing it because there'll be a picture. See, like I put in direction for Finbar to draw, right? And again, a lot of the jokes rely on visual, right? So if you can't even visualize what it is I'm going for, you're probably not going to understand the jokes. You're probably not going to get it. A lot of it is reactions, characters reacting a certain way to what Frogman's doing. Frogman reacting a certain way to the situation at hand, right? So a lot of visual gags and stuff. And so I think when the comic comes out, when we have the preview ready, I think people will see that it is what it is. It is what the script says, but it works when it's visually done, right? If that makes sense to anybody. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed. And TJ, I love TJ. He was like, "Man, Tony, we gotta go and we gotta EFAP this video." And I'm like, TJ, we can't do that. We can't be Eric July. There's gonna be no critique of your critique. Maybe somewhere down the line after the comic releases, we'll go back and maybe do like a members only video or like a bonus episode or something where me, TJ, and Finbar we watch the things that people had said before the comic came out, and we just kind of laugh, have a good time, because a lot of what they said is really silly. But again, I mean, they're allowed to say it. They're allowed to have these criticisms. They're allowed to be wrong, I guess. But it's a little frustrating because I do want to go in there, right? I want to go in there and be like, no. See, the reason that's like that is because X, Y, and Z, right? I want to go in there. I want to explain. I want to talk because I love talking about the story and the comic and concept and everything. And but I know it'll never be perceived, right? Like if I go in there to be like, okay, let me explain to you what's going on and why certain choices were made, it'll always come off that I'm coping or seething or I'm really angry or Tony's trying to like do damage control. So no matter what I say or do in this situation, it's always going to be the wrong choice. So I guess this is the least wrong choice, right? Like just not really addressing it would be the least wrong choice, right? So we're just going to do that. Then, like I said, maybe down the line, after the comic releases, we'll go back and we'll watch the Dean and Vicky video with you guys and have a good time and laugh and tell some jokes. But yeah, so yeah, that happened. And again, I understand people don't like me, right? People, I'm like cancer. I will grow on you eventually, but initially you'll probably be really upset with me, really upset by the things I say. Being blunt and honest usually rubs people the wrong way. I get it. I understand that. So, I understand. I understand why Simulated Cynic decided that he wanted to, leak the script. I guess he thought I was going to turn into Eric July and spurg out and go on these like massive tirades and like yell and scream and, wave my arms around. But I guess when that didn't happen, I guess, they just kind of shut up about it, which works for me, right? Hopefully it works for you guys. But yeah, so that happened. And that was, again, I think I'm more disappointed in the lack of people actually talking about it than anything that's been said about it. I mean, last time I checked, because I do check, guys. I'm such a quote unquote narcissist. I'm such a narcissist, right? I do check frequently the thread that was made, and there's no replies on the thread. So that again, like, they're not even replying to the thread. They're not even like discussing it, which really like kind of disappointing. But then I look and it has like, the download, and it says how many people downloaded it, right? And it's like 20. I think last time I looked it was like 26. It's like, that's it. I was like, just 26 people care. Only 26 people. It's rather disappointing. But hopefully like I said, when we get closer to release date, everything comes together. People will be more excited. They'll be more interested. Maybe, and I'm hoping, maybe I'm being stupid about this, and maybe you guys are all really dying to see it. Everybody's interested, but you guys are so respectful of me, of the process, that you're just refusing to look at the script. You're just like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to look at the script. I'm not going to ruin the experience for myself. So if that's the case, thank you. I appreciate that for holding out and waiting for the official release. Now, the other thing that happened was something happened at work. And you guys aren't going to believe. I'm going to tell you this story about what happened at work. And you guys are 100% not going to believe me, right? Because I wouldn't believe me if I told this story, if someone told me this story, rather. Right, so I'm at work. And at my work, we have two sections. There's the manufacturing section, and then there's the shipping, receiving section, right? We got a manufacturing boss, and we got a shipping, receiving boss. And me being the safety guy, I got to go back and forth between these areas and make sure everyone's doing what they're doing and no one's dying and all that good stuff. So it's about, let's say, like 1:30-ish, right? And I'm heading over to the shipping area and making sure everything's all good and lined up. And as I'm getting closer to the dock doors are closed. There's no trucks in there, but it's like way in the corner of the building. I'm getting closer and I see the boss of the shipping area. So I was like, oh, I'll walk over there and, have a conversation. Because, I don't want to do any actual work. So if I walk over there, I could, we could bullshit for a couple minutes. So I get over there and he doesn't see me. His back is to me. But then when I get there, turns around and I shit you not, his pants are around his fucking ankles. Okay. There's a grown man. The guy is like 6'7". He's got to be like 350 pounds. He's kind of big, fat. It looks like the Kingpin, right? He could play the fucking Kingpin. That's what he looks like, right? And he's standing there in his work clothes with his pants around his ankle, and he's on the phone. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And this is the boss. He's like, no. He's like, Tony, you won't believe what happened. He's like, my pants were loose, and I'm like, dude, I don't even want to fucking know. I don't even want to know. So he hangs up the phone immediately. And he's like, picks up his pants. I was like, what the fuck is this guy? Well, like, what? Like, no one's going to believe this, right? And I literally, I was like, man, I'm going to tell everybody. I'm telling everybody that you're over here with your pants around your ankles. Literally caught the man with his pants around his ankles at work. It was, strange shit happens at blue collar jobs. And this has got to be the strangest thing that's ever happened to me. God forbid I had walked up a couple minutes later. Who knows? Who knows what sights I might have seen? But yeah, very, very. My job is very boring for 363 days out of the year, but apparently, one or 2 days we get a little bit of excitement. So there's that. All right, that was my excitement for the week. But I know someone else has probably had a really, really exciting week. He's an artist, an illustrator. All around nice guy. So we're gonna bring him out. The one, the only WunGun. What's up, WunGun? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Tony? How's it going? Thanks for inviting me on the show, man.
No problem. Like I said, we're gonna go over what you've been working on, what you've done in the past. The history of WunGun, because I think I've had you on my show a lot.
Mm-hmm. In the past, yeah.
I don't think we've ever like you come on and like we just talk about like whatever. Oh, look, Eric July, like we go off of that. Like I don't think we've ever been like, hey, WunGun, who are you? What is the WunGun story, right?
No, we never did it on your show.
Yeah. Oh, you did it other places? You're cheating on me.
I did it other places, but I don't recall it doing it on your show. Hey, I never did on Katie's show either.
So. What is the WunGun story? So you obviously you're an artist.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into comic book art? How did you?
Man, I can't remember the exact date that I got into comics, but I can tell you about the time. Was way back in the 80s. When I was a young kid. And I think everybody saw the original Transformers animated the movie. I was like into that type of stuff, and as I got older, I ran with the crowd.
Hold on, you can't just skip over it. So you saw the Transformers animated movie,
right?
You got to answer the question: did you cry?
Well, Optimus Prime died. Let's see. I do believe I was in the 4th grade, and I was like, I didn't cry when he died. I was like mad. I was more angry that he died, But a lot of my friends were shocked. I was mad, and we were like we were like mad because like, damn, they killed Optimus Prime. How dare they? And Megatron survived, And
I was happy. I was actually really glad that Optimus died.
Dude, how can you be happy? Because the greatest hero
because
ever.
I've talked about this before. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I always liked the villains more when I was growing up, right? Whether it was Transformers, G.I. Joe, wrestling, whatever it is, I always thought the villains were cooler, right?
Well, yeah. So, Megatron was cool. I ain't gonna knock you for that,
Well, I was actually a Starscream guy, right? So like, we had Optimus Prime died. I was like, oh yeah, all right. So the bad guys are winning, and then Megatron was all beat up, and then Starscream kicks him out of the plane. I was like, yeah, he won. He finally won.
Yeah, Starscream finally got him. Starscream was plotting that shit, and he kicked him out.
That's why I turned the movie off. I just end the movie right there. All right, roll the credits. We don't need to see the rest. We don't need to see Starscream dying and all that shit.
But actually, the Decepticons in that movie, if I remember, they got the kill, but they didn't win. They got beat pretty badly. They were like suffering because Astro Train suffered the most because he was like, "Hey, we gotta relieve some weight," So I'm flying, kicking y'all all off, and it was like, well, it's time to sacrifice our leader,
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
that's right. He's like, I still function. He's like, not for long.
Not for long.
It was one of the best moments.
It was the best mutiny scene ever written. I would say best mutiny scene ever written.
And then he comes back and becomes Galvatron.
He got Galvatron, but that was also funny too. That was funny too when Starscream had the crown. He had this fancy looking crown. He had the cape on and everything. Like, yeah, I'm about to get mine. He blasts him to dust and then steps on the crown. That's fucking awesome. That's a fucking awesome comeback right there. Best comeback.
Yeah. But remember, Starscream never dies. He lives forever. His soul, for whatever, he's like the only Transformer with a soul.
Right.
He's like a Transformer ghost.
Yeah, he's like the bone guy from One Piece. He just turned into this ghost-like figure and possess people and stuff. But I think only robots he could possess were the sweeps, because the sweeps were
not true. If you watch Beast Wars, he possessed the pterodactyl one.
Oh shit! See, I wasn't into the Beast Wars. I didn't watch it a lot. I didn't start watching Beast Wars until I found out it's the prequel to the Transformers history, and I was like, that's why they made this shit to show us what happened before they woke up on the Ark. I'm like, damn, I gotta go back and watch it all. And when I went back and watched it, it was fucking good. It was good. It just looked awful, but it's good.
Oh yeah, it looked terrible. I mean, I guess it was good for the time. Like everyone was like, "Oh my god, this is so great!" They're like going back and watching. Yeah. Like, oh, this is terrible. Like
it's written good. It's written really good. It makes sense, and I'm thinking like, yeah, this most likely could have happened because when they got to the planet, they didn't even know the Ark was there. They didn't even know.
Well, they did. The bad guys did. If you watch, so this is how like convoluted the plot was. Supposedly, in the future, the Decepticons and the Autobots make up, and they're like, there's a peace, right? But the Predacons, which are the bad guys in this series, they're like an offshoot of the Decepticons. So their plan is to go back in time, destroy the Ark and Optimus and all them, right? And Megatron, because according to them, that if they killed those two, then the Autobots and the Decepticons would die, but the Predacons, for whatever reason, would still survive because their lineage, like I said, it like is an offshoot. So like, will still survive.
Yeah, which was great because, like I said, we like the Decepticons knew that the Ark was there. The Decepticons knew that was Earth, but everybody else, including us, the viewers, didn't know. Like Autobots didn't know. We didn't know until like I think that last season when they actually walked onto the Ark and they saw all the Autobots. I'm like, holy shit! When I said, I think that's like the only episode I ever watched of that show.
That's when he combines his spark with the other spark. He's like,
right. That's like, I can't believe I missed out on this series. I got to go back and watch it. I'm like, damn. So I caught up on the series a long time ago to watch it, and then after I watched it, I was like, okay, this does make sense. You know, once you get past the ugly animation, the story is good. The story is like real solid because it actually makes sense of why they're there. You know, because I'm like, it's stupid. I think it was stupid until I saw the arc and the Optimus Prime sitting there in that chair. I was like, oh shit. It was all for naught. I should have stayed with the story. I should have started watching the beginning, but they came legit because they got another animation studio. I forgot the name of it, and they came back that next season. Cybertron. They went to Cybertron.
Yeah.
They had a whole new, and that's when it started getting really good. Because by then, Rodax was a bad guy and shit like that, and the animation was really good, you know. And I think it had like maybe 1 or 2 seasons until they killed it, you know, for no reason. I'm like, this is like the best thing, you know.
I don't know what no reason. It's probably bad ratings, right? Let's face it.
Bad ratings. You know, I had I think it was that, and they was like the people who did that did this cartoon called War Planets. You know, remember War Planets? Do you?
I've seen that.
Yeah, War Planets. Yeah, it's all mainframe shit back in the day. But yeah,
that was mainframe reboot. That reboot series.
Yeah, they did Reboot. They did. I do believe they did that 3D Voltron.
Oh, that was trash. Don't even bring that up. That don't exist. I'm gonna pretend like
that was trash, dude. My friend, he worked at the company Trendmasters. The same people behind the Independence Day toys, the same people behind War Planets, the same people behind Polly Pocket, the same people behind the Voltron. You know, he worked on all those projects, and he told me himself, like, this is garbage. He told me that shit was garbage, you know. And the thing about it is, like, those people that he worked for, all those cartoons, Polly Pocket, all the cartoons were made because, like, I think most of the designs that he did, he would send them off to, I think, like, I forget what he sent them. I think send them off Korea or something, and they would take his designs and they'll screw them up. You know, like the Independence Day toy, the Will Smith, because he actually worked with Will Smith. He talked to Will Smith, and he worked with them to draw him, and he sent Will Smith the drawings that he made of his figure. And Will Smith gave it a thumbs up, like, thanks, man, you made me look good. And then they got the toy made, and the toy looked ridiculous, horrible. It looked horrible.
Will Smith's like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, you're like, what? I see this, but I see that. You know, the same thing. What's his name? With the Godzilla toy. Yeah, they also worked on the Godzilla. Yeah, they also worked on the Godzilla toys too. And I don't know who they kept on using, but like he would show us the prototypes. Like he would walk us into the Trendmasters, and he'd show us the prototypes, everything. You know, and that's how I saw the prototypes for the Youngblood Prophet. I saw the prototypes for the Godzilla. I saw the actual aliens. Because like he took us like he always took.
He
us
didn't steal any.
No, I know he didn't take none of the stuff because you know that they use like one of sculpted models that were done in house. Everything was done in house. All the sculpts were done. Then they sent them off to get molded. So he would just take us down there to where the sculpting and stuff was because he was like the designer. He did like a lot of the work, basically how the toy should look, and he would do some engineering too. So, but the whole thing about it is that he took us down there and. The stuff they worked on, they did a lot of stuff. They did a lot of stuff for Image. They did a lot of stuff for Voltron. Matter of fact, they got the license for Voltron because World Events is located here in St. Louis, where I live at. And World Events. He actually knows the guy who owns World Events, who they actually hold the license for Voltron. Until I think DreamWorks bought it from them, but they own it in some capacity. I forgot, but yeah. But it was cool because to know somebody who works at a toy company and to get behind the scenes stuff. Like I said, they did a lot of stuff for Image, and they did a lot of stuff for Jim Lee. They did a lot of stuff for a lot of these people, and he was the one that really got me into wanting to be a toy designer. Want to do comics and stuff. I did comics with him. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun shit back in the 90s, early 90s.
Back in the gap. So you get into comics, you want to start making comics, animations and stuff.
Yeah. Back in 97, 98, I had a career airbrushing. I was airbrushing people's t-shirts, and I wasn't in school. I was done with school, so I was like, started airbrushing t-shirts. And the guy who owned this place where I was airbrushing t-shirts at knew this guy who's a local who do comic books. He did a lot of work. You know, he did G.I. Joe 3D, a whole bunch of shit back in the day. And he introduced me to this guy, and this guy later on to go work for Trendmasters and do all this cool stuff. And during that whole time, you know, me and some friends, we got with him. We start making like little ash cans, little comic books, going to little comic book conventions, and like selling
what was
stuff.
your first ash can?
My first ash can was it was called the Mach 1. We called Mach 1 Studios back in the day. The Mach 1 1997 sampler, where I did a 4-page drawing. It's crappy, right? I still have one issue that survived. It was like a crappy 4 pages of me.
Did you put it out? Did you digitally? Have you scanned it into a computer yet?
I have scanned it in. I've scanned it in.
Also, you have it, so we could actually look at it and
we can look at it, but I have to remember where I put it. I don't know what website I put it back on. I put it on, so I have to find it. But I do have it on my hard drive. I just don't know what folder. It'll take a search to get it. But I did that. He had his character in there. I had my character in there, and my friend who went on to win an Oscar.
What? Well, you can't just drive it. Then my friend who just went on to win an Oscar. You know, just nugget like it's no big deal.
All right, so my now this is back in '97, right? And all of us wanted to career in comics. And the thing about it is that like life circumstances took us down different paths, right? We were all tight and we were cool. We're still even cool these days, but like life circumstances, especially my situation, I had to deviate and stop drawing and doing comic books for a while, for about 3 or 4, maybe 5 years out of my life. Meanwhile, these mofos are over here like doing work in industry and shit like that. Meanwhile, I have to hold down a 9 to 5. You know, I had to have a 9 to 5. But what happened was like back in 1997, we were doing comics. You know, we were kids. We were doing comics, and we were doing ash cans, going to all local comic book shows and giving out little ash cans and shit like that. And then fast forward to 1999, we all packed up and we went up to San Diego, first San Diego Comic Con. Now back then, San Diego was cool as fuck because it wasn't all fucking Hollywood. You know, San Diego Comic Con right now is like is bullshit. You know, because I went back in '99, then I went back in 2002. But let's take 99 is right before the bubble happened, before the bubble popped. You know. Mm-hmm. 99 is when you had Dreamwave. Remember them? Dreamwave. You had Image. I think this is like right before he did Maximum. It was either Awesome or Maximum. Rob Liefeld. No, it was Awesome because he was sitting next to Karen Grant. Because that's when I met Karen Grant for the first time in my life. I met Karen Grant, and right there standing next to Rob Liefeld. I talked to Rob Liefeld and shit like that. He was sitting next to Karen Grant. And I just shook his hand. It's like, man, I got all your X-Forces. And I said, I bought Youngblood. And I wish I had my Advanced Comics that I bought Advanced Comics because it had Youngblood on the cover. I should have bought that, had him sign it, but I didn't. But
so yes. You and Eric July went to San Diego Comic Con.
Yes, me and Eric July went to yeah. So that's what really ignited my spirit was doing a Comic Con and meeting all the artists. You know, I met Eric Larson. I met Alvin Lee. I met this little character called LaShawn Thomas, who's walking around saying, "I did World Girl, bitches," you know, shit. I met a lot of people, man. I even hung out with a lot of artists too, you know, after the show and stuff. But that's when I found out. I mean, San Diego 1999 was when I found out like how these people are just regular people. You know, they like to hang out, they like to drink, they like to have fun, like to talk about comics, they like to do everything I like to do. And I was like, I gotta be a part of this, you know. Yeah, so that's when I met another highlight of that show that I'll never forget is that was a show back in 1999 when I met my first manga artist, Masami Kasaki-san. Kasaki, I hope I ain't fucking up the name, dude. But yeah, he's the one who did the Street Fighter comic that was on Iron Cat Studios. He goes way back to like he did Xenon, the manga, you know, for Viz Comics. He did a lot of stuff, you know, and I knew his work from when I was younger. When I was like, you know, by then I was like an old man. I was like 18. I think I was like 18 or 20 or something.
You were an old man? You're 18?
Yeah, old man. I wasn't a kid no more. I was, but yeah. So I met him, and think about it, it's like he was supposed to be sitting at his table because he just came out with his Kabuki Cop series, and we was going to his table. Like the show was like it was like a 4 or 5 day show, if I remember. And we went to his table like every day. And the person that was there, his interpreter, his translator, was like, "Is he here?" It's like, "No, he's not here." I was like, "Why he's not here? He has a table here. I see his books. Like, where is he here?" It's like, I've waited years to see this man in person. And she was like, "You're like, well, he'll probably be here tomorrow." So we went there tomorrow. He wasn't there. We went the next day. So it was like the last day, we're gonna be there. I was like, "Listen, where is he at?" And she's like, "Come back later." So we came back later and he wasn't there. I was like, "Okay, where is he?" She's like, "Okay, come on, follow me." And we followed her up it was the same Comic-Con, and we had to go up this whole flight of steps. We finally got up there, and there he was sitting up there like a gangster. And he was like, he was surprised, like he got like 4 black guys coming to see him.
4 black guys. Shit.
Yeah, yeah. So he was a cool guy, man. He drew us some drawings, pictures. We talked about his work. We showed him our artwork, and he was telling us like he was, now this is back in '99. He said he's like, if you all would do like some pages or some drawings, I will get them published in Japan. And we looked at each other like look that anime scene where your eyes get big and the stars and shit start popping up and shit like that. Yeah. so we was like, yeah, there's also where I don't know if I was with my friends or not, but this we met Kelsey Shannon too. We met Kelsey Shannon in '99. And one of my friends with my crew went off to work with Kelsey Shannon. And Kelsey Shannon, he was at Internet Press doing some stuff. And he was working with my friend over here, and they had some relationship. I didn't know, but they had a relationship where which led to him getting off to going his route in comics and shit like that, which is pretty cool. Because now this dude has Emmys and Oscars under his belt now. So so that changed his life too. That changed his direction in his life too. That's how something little can come out to something big. If you stick with it. And once we get past 1999, after we came back from that show, man, we were grinding, dude. We were grinding, getting better. I think we were working on getting better, drawing, and taking any jobs we could to stay afloat. Because, like I said, I was an older guy. I was 18, 19, something like that.
You can't say that. You're like I'm an older guy.
Yeah, well, I keep on saying that. But I'm old. I'm old now, but back then,
we both old now. I'm gonna be 44 on Monday, but. Yeah. Man, you're like, I was an older guy. Now I feel ancient because you're talking 18 being old.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking about the time, the time and stuff, because like, we went off to do other things. So right around that time when I came back, I couldn't like do the shit I used to do because I had to actually get a fucking job and work. I couldn't live off of shit. I had to get a fucking job, work. Find a place to live, all this shit. That. So it kind of took me away from what I wanted to do because like I didn't like my friends. They had family to fall back on. They had family that they had family, had a mother. I didn't have that shit. I didn't really have all that shit. So I had to strike it on my own. I had to survive. And the thing about survival is that you have to do what makes you money because money is what you need to survive in this world. So I kind of like got off the path of doing comic books for at least about 6 or 7 years. I would draw. I have my sketchbook. I'll keep up with it and stuff like that. But something happened. In 2010, or I think 2010, 2012, my friends met up with some guy, good investor, and they started making comics. They started making comic books, and they ran off to form this company called Lion Forge. Have you ever heard of this company called Lion Forge?
No, I have not.
Okay. Lion Forge.
I've never really been into like independent comics. That's the dirty secret about me, right? I've just been a Marvel guy. Right, my whole life, and I'm aware that there's other things out there, but I was never like looking.
One more thing about 1997. The 1997 Ash Can we did. Also, at that same time, my friend who was working at the toy company, who got us doing all this comic book stuff, he knew Jim Mahfood. He knew Jim Mahfood. Matter of fact, he trained Jim Mahfood. He got Jim Mahfood into drawing comics. And he also knew this other guy named Chris Somney. I don't know if you know who Chris Somney is, but he's an artist working over at Marvel. He knows those guys. And I met Chris Somney back when he was a little kid. He was a young kid. And I'm so shocked that he went the route that he did. And he's done shit at Marvel and DC and all shit. I never thought that kid would be that big. He's a really good artist. Really good artist. And I remember sitting at a comic book show and him and his dad walking up like, "Here's my son," And here's my work. And his work, you know, for a kid for his age was just remarkable. I'm like, damn, this kid's good. You know, made me take my stuff off the table. You know, but yeah. So Jim Mahfood, you know, everybody knows who Jim Mahfood is. I actually sat down. He drew a picture of my character. Called Quick Blade. He was like my version of Geiger, basically. And he drew a picture of him, which is pretty cool, you know. And we put that into the sampler too. But let's fast forward a little bit to when, not when I left, stopped doing comics, started hanging around my friends who went off to have careers doing this shit. Let's go to when I came back to do it. So by the time I came back, my friend, they opened up, they had their own comic book company, they had their own multimedia company. They were doing big shit, you know. And what happened is that like I was like, I want to do it too. I'm like, I want to come back, you know. So they gave
what about me?
Yeah, what about me? I'll try. I don't want to be the fifth Beatle no more. Let me come back in. So they gave me some stuff to do, right? They gave me some this is comic book called Trimax that they put out. You can look it up, Trimax. And Trimax number 3 was my cover that I did for them. I also did some design chores on Trimax because they knew I was always good at drawing robots because I was the Transformer guy back in the day. I was a robot guy. So they had tackled me with like just doing some designs for Trimax, and I did that. I gave them like a bunch of sketches, and then what they did, they took them and they gave it to somebody else. They took some of the stuff that I did and they applied it to the robot, which is pretty cool. They also had me do something called it was like their version of Red Riding Hood, and I had this concept for art for that too. They never did nothing with it. I just think they just had it on file for when they actually made something with it, I guess. And after that, and meanwhile, I was doing the stuff, you know, back in 2012, 2010, 2012. I went back to school. I went back to the art school. I went to art school, and I was in school full time. I was in school full time and doing schoolwork. It was kept me busy, so I really couldn't do a lot of the stuff. I couldn't sit down and do a book. I only think I could do like a cover. Maybe some concept work, whatever and stuff. But I was in school learning how to do animatics and animation and stuff like that. So, but my whole focus wasn't to do comic books back then either. It was to get into the world of like animation, storyboarding and shit like that. Because that's what I wanted to do, you know. Because storyboarding is real close to doing comics, you know. I was like, I can do storyboarding. This is easy, you know. I could do it, you know. So I started doing that shit. Started going to classes. It's school, you know. So I was dedicated to school. Meanwhile, they're still making books. They're doing comic book shows. They're going to the West Coast, the East Coast. They're going down to Atlanta, Florida. They're doing all these shows. I'm at home, like I wish I was there too, you know. But when I was finished with school, they were done. They stopped. They closed down their anime. They closed down their comic book section of the company, and the company split. And now he has his own production company. But before he split, they were doing film. They were going to film and animation. So they got rid of comics and went into film and animation. Yeah, that's it. That's Trimax. That's my cover. That's my cover. That's the one I laid out. Yeah, that's it. I never knew what they were what the story was. They just said, "Can you do this for us? Can you sketch up the robot? Can you create a robot for us? Can you do this? Can you do that? You know, draw the girl." I said, "Okay, I'll do a cover and then do some designs." Now, I didn't design the girl. Somebody else designed the girl. I think one of my friends designed the girl, and they didn't tell me how her outfit was made, right? And I assumed that her outfit was a skirt, you know, because it looks like a skirt, but it's more like the chick from Mass Effect. He tried to draw her uniform to look like the one off of. He took some cues off the Mass Effect girl, right?
All right.
So it was supposed to be, it was supposed to be like that. And I was like, oh, why didn't you tell me that? Because I didn't know. Y'all just said, here are the pictures. This is what the robot's supposed to look like. Do some designs for the robots and all other shit, right? So I did that. I did exactly what they told me. They left out shit. So for my robot's original design, they changed some things. They changed some things for the robot, you know, because back then, my robot looks a little bit like the robot from Gurren Lagann, because I was really into Gurren Lagann, and I was referencing Gurren Lagann, I was referencing Evangelion, I was referencing Gundam and all type of shit. But Gurren Lagann was like the coolest shit, you know. That to me was the coolest mech series I ever watched, and ever went into that world. So
G Gundam is way better. Come on.
Oh, come on, man! Don't.
You have a literal tequila Gundam that looks like a cactus coming out of the water. Come on, everything was so like stereotypical, but it like fit and it was so good.
Yeah. You know, okay, G Gundam. That was like back in like the early '90s and shit like that. It was okay. I mean, for its time. And then Gurren Lagann came out and was crushed it. You know, so. Gurren Lagann, I'm sorry, man. Gurren Lagann had the best fucking story, had the best fucking animation, and it was wild. And then they was able to take a story and make it really wild, then bring it back, and then make it wild again, then bring it back, and then just make a total fucking something awesome at the end of it. I mean, I totally like that show from the beginning to the end. So we're gonna have to agree to disagree on Gundam, but So he went off and like he split off the company. And meanwhile, like I was doing a little work for him here and there. Like I said, I was doing like mostly I was too busy to do a comic book. You know, I was too busy and I had other stuff going on in my life, which prevented me from actually doing comics. So I have not officially made my first comic book, but I have worked and done stuff on comic books like inking. I've done some background stuff. I did a lot of stuff, but I still was in that industry whatsoever. I was still in the industry doing stuff, you know. I just that, you know, I was getting pushed. Like, man, you need to do a book. You need to do a book. Say, okay, man, I'll think about it. So I teamed up with my design. I was in school. I had a teacher. He was in design. He was my design teacher, right? And I teamed up with him. We did a book. It's only like 12 or 14 pages. But what it was is that I laid out the whole book and he drew over my layouts. And it looked good. It looked pretty good. But once again, it didn't go nowhere. You know, I still have that shit on my fucking computer. It didn't go nowhere.
It didn't even get published, or what?
It never got published. We never got it published. And what happened is that his life some shit was going on in his life, and he had to stop working. I want to do like a 30-page or 40-page book, but we only got like the first 15 pages done. And I lost a lot of our shit in my old computer. My computer crashed. We lost a lot of stuff, but the stuff I was able to save was up to like 14 to 15 pages. And that was my big attempt to actually make a comic book, you know, based off of my layouts and drawings. And because I went about the comic book as like a storyboard. So I was like, okay, storyboard it out and see what he can do. So he did it. I mean, he back then his life is chaotic. And when people's life get chaotic, this is real life, folks. You know, when your life gets chaotic, you have to step away and take care of the chaos, you know, and then normalize it, then come back, you know. And he took care of himself. He came back. By the time he came back, you know, I was off doing something else, you know. And I figured, like, man, you know, we have to start over from scratch, you know. We made a decision like, forget it, you know. Whatever done is done, you know. And but think about it is that he went off and hooked up with his son, and him and his son are making comics now. You know,
phrasing WunGun.
Yeah. So yeah, they're
well, the way you said it, you're like he went off and hooked up with. I was like, oh shit, it's gonna be a story about him like running off with a woman. You're like, he hooked up with his son. His son. I was like, oh shit, WunGun. Some Alabama shit going on over here.
No. Well, I should have said like he ran off with her. He found a new girlfriend, and he ran off with his girlfriend. And I didn't see him. I didn't see him till like months and months later. He showed up. He was all, you know, when somebody got a woman because they come back, you know, they all dirty and shit. And then when they come back and they like y'all clipped up, they smell like man, you don't smell like 2-day-old shit. And I'm like, you wear clean socks too? I'm like, you got a woman. I'm like, yeah, I got a woman. You got a woman now, man. I'm with her. I'm like, damn, dude. Like, I'm good for you, man. I'm like, well, so yes, he came back and we started talking about doing comics again. And like I said, I was busy. Yeah, I was busy doing other shit. You know, doing.
Now you're the king of iClone or something, right?
Yeah, then I became eventually king of iClone, and that's the name that was given to me. That's not the name. That's the name that was given to me, because I was taking leaps. I was doing different shit with a program, and nobody else was doing it. And I was like doing integration with other software and shit like that. And a lot of people that were using this software wasn't doing it. They were using that one software for everything. But I was using like other programs, professional programs, using different render engines. I was like, I was doing everything, you know, and it showed in my work. It showed in my work when people saw my work, saw my renders, my animations. They was like, wow, this dude's pretty good, you know. And in the process of me doing different stuff, you had the people who you get haters. You get people who don't like what you're doing. They always want to bring your work down and shit. And one of the haters decided, to call me a king eye clone. And I was like, you know what, that's a good name. I think I keep it. You know, thanks. You know, and I've been called the king eye clone ever since. Yeah, haters.
Best friends.
Yeah, villains are the best creators of heroes. You know, and that's what I basically did. So what happened was there's some lore behind that too, because I entered a contest way back in 2015, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I entered this contest and I won. I wasn't expecting to win, but I won. And it wasn't until after you win, you find out what people think about you, you know. And it's sad.
Oh, they said you ain't shit. He ain't shit. He shouldn't have won.
I shouldn't have won. I shouldn't have won. And because I used other programs in my work, which I've always done, and I've never hit it. He cheated, yeah. And I'm like, no, I didn't cheat. I mean, the rules said I could do this. I mean, but everybody like, no, you're supposed to use this software for everything. I was like, no, I'm not going to use. They really, I think, will really set me apart because I used a whole bunch of professional. I use a whole bunch of professional shit to accomplish something that looks good, you know. And the fact that and the judges even said, you know, that the way my stuff looked is out the norm of what the usual stuff.
Did you beat a bunch of kids? You're over here like a grown man whipping on a bunch of kids.
No, this is not Al Bundy competing in the Special Olympics, man. These are all grown people. You know, some of them were at the time were older than me, competing in this contest. Where you had like this really, really weak program. It's a really weak program. At the time, it was a really weak program that I was using. And it has some functionality in that program where I say, I can use this functionality and use this and bring it over to this program and use this program functionality and then use this. You know, what I do is I don't do everything in one program. I use multiple programs. You know, back then, these people in this community was only use one program. they wouldn't use nothing else, you know. So when I came in, I took advantage of it because I was, like I said, at the time, same time I was in school too. I was in school. I was learning about composition and compositing, composition. I was learning how to use all these programs: Maya, Max, Motion Builder, Houdini. I was learning how to use all these programs. Right? I had them, so why not use them? So I used all those programs. I used all these programs to win. You know, and the only reason why I did what I did is because they said I can use whatever I want to as long as I have their program in the pipeline, you know. And I was like, gotcha. And so I went and I worked on this thing called, the name of it was called Archive of Infinity. It's a animation that started off as a little 4-page story that I wrote while I was in, I forgot what class. I was taking a class. They told us to write this fucking short story, you know, for script. I forgot what the fuck it was, but yeah, that's what I did. And then the contest came. I was like, hey, I said, hey, I'm gonna make this this is my submission. I sat back for 3 weeks animating this shit. And during that 3 weeks, my dad got sick. And he got a lung infection, and the doctor said, we don't know if he's going to make it through this shit because his lungs are pretty much fucked. We got him on a machine, so I had to quit. Yeah, that's it. That's the animation I worked on.
Yeah, we'll let it play while you're talking. So your dad got sick.
My dad got sick, so I had to quit working on it. I was in school too, so I left school, and I had to stop working on it. I was by my dad's side for a couple of days. The doctors gave him something for his lungs, and they said this is the only thing we know, and this is the only thing we can give him because there's nothing else. So they shot him up with something. I was against it because it had some nasty side effects, but you know, I let my dad make the choice. And I was getting ready to fight I was there. I mean, I was there getting ready to fight. The doctor said, don't get it to him because, you know, I don't know. I mean, but if this is going to possibly kill him, I don't want you to give it to my dad. Like, just let him do it, son. Like, fine, just do it, you know. So they shot him up, this stuff. I sat there, waited, and I think like the day and a half, he got better. And his outlook was looking better because the stuff was doing what it's supposed to do, and he got better. He healed up and everything. So when I felt like it was okay for him, my sisters were there, and I just said, okay, well, then fine. I can go back home. So I came back home, and I think I had like a couple of days left. I think I had like a week left, and then they give extension out, and I was like, well, I could finish it, or I could just not enter. So I went ahead and I went back to work on it, and I put my school off for like about a week, and I worked on it, finished it. I didn't like it after what I did. I didn't like what I did. You know, it's not the complete story I want to tell, but I went ahead and submitted it. You know, and I was like, I'm submitting this because I did it. Ain't nobody that's gonna care for this shit. So I submitted it. About a month later, you know, the video came out saying who won what, and they played me. I had a dog. Her name was Tootsie, and we sat on the bed and played the video. I said, Tootsie, don't be mad if I don't win. And we played the video, and then they showed all the people who entered. They picked the top 5. You know, they always pick the top 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Right? My video was in the top 5. I was like, yes, I made it in the top 5. And then they started going down the winners. It's like this winner, this winner, this winner, this. Then they got to best animation. And then they said for 2015, and that's when I saw my video up there. I was like, I looked at my dog looked at me, and we just started doing flips in the bed, dude. It was like, yes, I won. You know, so I won the contest, and then shortly after that, you know, I started doing other stuff, you know, working on other things, you know, went to my friend, doing some work for him. Never thought about nothing else past this, you know, until this is 2015, 2017 rolled around, and I was on YouTube, then my video came up, and I decided to, I said, you know what, this ain't finished. I need to finish this, and I decided to work on it again, you know. So 2017 got here, 2018, 2019, I just kept on working on it, and then my life took a turn in 2020. In 2019, my life took a turn because I learned that I was sick. I was really sick, you know, and I went through a long, hard process over a couple of years of just being like so sick that I got to a point that I couldn't do nothing, you know. And what happened was that I got an infection in my leg, and I had to. I was hospitalized for a long time, you know. They was trying to save it, you know. So for 2 years, I tried fighting to save my leg. I couldn't save it, and it got to a point to where it almost killed me. And I wound myself in the hospital, and my doctor said, like, you know, if you don't get this thing off, it's going to kill you. There's nothing they can do, you know, because the infection was really bad. I mean, my leg was like the size almost of a fucking telephone pole, you know. That's how wide it was, and it was really bad. So I was in the hospital, and I was just like, all right, man, they're like, do it. And they did it. I was in recovery for damn near 6 or 7 months, you know. During that time, you know, I have no one paying my bills. You know, I had
a sugar mama.
I didn't have no sugar mama, no sugar daddy. You know, it was just me, my dog, and life in general. And what happened was that I had to get some. I had to find. I didn't know what to do. You know, and I was in the hospital. I was barely able to pay my cell phone bill, and because I wasn't around my computer, I couldn't work. You know, I couldn't do shit. My laptop was like. My laptop was at home and it wasn't working correctly. The only thing I had was my main computer. I couldn't bring that to the hospital. So, you know, they had me in a nursing facility for like months, man. It was like months. So somebody did a crowdfunder for me. So what happened is, like, I had money that I was going to build a new computer, right? I had like a few thousand put away, but the few thousand I had to funnel that in to keep my electric on, keep my rent paid, barely keep the gas bill on, you know, all the other shit. So I was barely.
What you gotta do.
I gotta do what I gotta do. So I just took the money. It was sad because I had to do it, or else I wouldn't have no home to come to. So I took the money, allocated. I had friends help me out and shit like that. But by the time I get home, I won't have nothing. You know, I have to start from scratch again. So while I was in the hospital, some people got together. A good friend of mine said, you know, why don't you start a GoFundMe? Because I was telling them, like, I need a computer. It's like I can't continue my work. You know, it's bad enough that I can't work. But when I get out of the hospital, I won't be able to continue work because I won't have a decent computer, you know. And I'll probably be stuck in my house for a couple months until I get my prosthetic, you know. So they said, why don't you just start do a GoFundMe? A GoFundMe for what? It's like for a computer to help you get back to work when you get out. No, it's just something. I was like, I don't know, man. You know, I don't think people care enough about me. And they're like, you'd be surprised how many people talk behind your back about you. And
in a good way, obviously.
In a good way, obviously, yeah. So I said, fine, let's do it, dude. Let's do it. I'll go ahead and set up one, and you know, whatever happens. I'll be surprised if I get $10 if somebody cared enough about me. So I went ahead and did it. You know, I was in the hospital still. You know, still in the hospital, rolling around my wheelchair and shit. Yeah, but I was healing. I was going through therapy, all that other good shit. And I didn't check it, and they gave me say, hey man, you checked your GoFundMe? I'm like, nope, because I know probably nothing on there. They said, no, you think you better go check? So I went check, and they raised like $1,700, you know, for me towards my new computer. And I was like, holy shit. Like, holy shit. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. They're like, yeah, man. No, I put the call out and told people about the situation, and it helped.
There's a lot of tea pics you gotta send out afterward, huh?
Yeah, a lot of tea. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, so after that, you know, it kind of like got me into like going back and being an artist again, man, because I was finished. I was actually finished. You know, I went through some shit. You know, I made it through that. I survived that. You know, we're on the other side of 2023. That's because now other side of 2023 now. And I said, now it's going to be the year where I go back and I work on shit that I want to work on. So I came back, talked to my friend, and my friend started giving me some work and stuff, some work for commercial work and shit like that. So I started doing that in the background, and I had free time. So what I started doing is like taking other gigs, you know, working in the background and started making money and shit like that. And I started my life started to stable now. Life is stable now, and I'll have to, you know, depend on people, you know. So what happened next is I decided, you know what, folks, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do shit I always want to do, right? I started working on a bunch
of white ladies.
Yeah, a bunch of white ladies. Yeah, so I started working on the Last Dragon. I always want to do my version of Last Dragon.
We talked about that before because, you know, people might not realize this, but I love the fucking Last Dragon.
Yeah, you, Finbar, and TJ. That's y'all calling right there. I know.
It's funny. One good. People were like, "Oh, the Black Shogun of Harlem." They're like, "Tony ripped off the villain from Last Dragon." I'm like, clearly you guys have never heard me talk about it because yes, I did. Like, I've been upfront.
Yeah,
I ripped it off.
Right. So yeah, it was funny. Yeah, I know somebody else no, it's not Mass Effect. It's like I use a model that at the time I didn't play Mass Effect. I've never played Mass Effect, but it was this model that I bought off this website, which had somebody made, which had that Mass Effect that funky looking 7 logo on it. I didn't know what that was. I was like, hey, this looks kind of cool. And I just used it. Because it was a model, and I needed a guard. I needed a sentry type character for her to beat up on. So that's what I used. And years later, I found out, oh, that's from Mass Effect. Oh, people gonna think this is from Mass Effect. I'm like, no, but it would be cool if my characters were in Mass Effect. But anyway, so I decided to go ahead and do a couple things. So my goal was to get back to working on my film Archive Infinity, make that an actual thing, right? But I had to get myself, you know, back into, you know, animating again. So I started off. I did The Last Dragon. I went from there. I did that. I worked on that, and then the guy I was working on that with had disappeared. I was like, wait a minute, where'd you go? It's like, you're the lead voice actor in the damn film. Where'd you go? He I don't know, he disappeared. You know, he came back, you know, but I'm doing something else now. So I did that. I got another guy to do the voice of Shonuff, you know, and that was cool. We had fun working on that, you know. Just that when people start disappearing on you, and I'm like, I got all this script, I got all this shit written, and I have no voice actors. I have to you know, it was something I was doing for fun anyway. I put that on the back end, and then I did a music video. I did 2 music videos. I did 2 music videos. One for this friend of mine. She's a singer. and I did a music video for her. It's called Dominion, and I did it. Then after I did hers, I did one for myself, which was called Filthy Love. That video, Filthy Love, did pretty good. You know, it got reviews on it, really good reviews. It was, I think it made YouTube's like most watched videos, number 2 most watched videos on YouTube when it came out. The guy who did the song, performed the song, he saw it, he loved it. You know, he's like, he into that animation. He said, I was on his Instagram, he was doing Instagram Live, and he saw me in there. You know, he's like, man, I'm into that animation shit. He's Korean. He's a Korean guy who did the song.
Yeah.
I'm into that
to casually drop. Yeah, I did a music video for my singer friend. Yeah. You might have heard of her, Rihanna or something like that. You know,
no. This is a local.
I mean, you just casually dropped it. You know, my friend won an Oscar. You just dropped that, so I was waiting for this one. Like,
my friend,
Beyonce. I did a video for Beyonce.
Well, that's the thing about me. I would drop people's like what people have done and accomplished, but I would not drop any names. You know, the reason why is because like when people hear that you know somebody, they will make it their point to try to contact or harass that person or try to do whatever. So a lot of people who I work for, you know, unless I've worked for them and they're no longer doing the shit that they're doing, or there's no one at the company that I know, you know, I will talk about like Line Force. There's nobody at the company that I know. You know, well, I do know the billionaire guy who runs the place. I know him, but I don't know nobody else that works there. So if somebody can call them, ask for me, or say something about me, they won't know who the fuck you're talking about. You know, so the reason why is because I had that issue in the past where I would I would say like where I worked at, what I did, and people would go behind you and call and do stupid shit. And I don't do that no more. I don't tell people where I work or who I work for or who I know. You know, like I know people at Epic. I don't say who they are. I just say I know people at Epic. I know people who work and do stuff at Uni. I know a lot of people in a lot of places. You know, think about this. I don't advertise it because I don't think that's right for me to do. You know, that's not right for me to do. Sit back and name drop somebody to say I'm somebody. I'm somebody without dropping names. I'm myself.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't be name dropping. I could be like, I've exchanged DMs with people like Tony from Hack the Movies, world famous. Was it The Dark Knight? Me and Dick Masterson and Vito, Justin Wang. I can just drop names, but I don't do that. I avoid that because it's petty. It's me. It's petty.
It's petty, and there's no reason for it. You should be able to stand up on your own work. That's what I'll try to do. I try to, like I like it when people take me as the fat person who ain't doing nothing. I like people who like to underestimate me, because what happens is those people eat their words. They eat their words and they like, I thought you said he was this, but we just found out he's doing this. It's because they the ones who fuck up. They the ones who assume. There's a lot of stuff that goes on over here is that people assume something but never factually accurately know something. And that works to my that works to my advantage. That's what works to my advantage, man. That's what I do. That's what I do. I just like use that to my advantage because that helps me out. Because the more somebody doesn't know about you, the more they have to make up, and the more they make up only proves that they're liars. So that's how I see it. That's why I stay quiet. When people say shit, do shit, I stay quiet. I let them embarrass themselves, and then I say, "Oh, well, the fact of the matter is, here's my proof." But so after I did that, I did some experimentation with something I've never done before. That was being a horror film. I want to do a horror film, not horror film. I want to do action horror animation. So I came up with this thing called Demon Hunter Guild, which is basically a group of individuals who defend our planet from this thing called the Void. The Void is this place where all these monsters and shit come from into our realm, and we have to have these specialists with abilities and the gear who go after these people, who after these monster stuff, and tries to like they're like Ghostbusters, sort of kind of, but more like kung fu and other bullshit that they do. So, but I've written out a treatment for it, and like I said, I handed it off to some people I know, and this was like a couple of years ago or whatever, and I got a call from somebody, and I think it's one of two things. Either somebody just took the shit and said, okay, we're going to we want to look at it. We want to see if it's worthy for Netflix or Amazon or something like that. Or it could be like, we want you to change something. You know, usually that's what it is. Well, I'll find out soon. You know, but if it's good, then you know, it's not gonna. Whatever I have, like I make animatics. I don't make full animation. I make animatics. We use those animatics to sell the IP. You know, so what you see is not the final animation, but what.
And then I'll be name dropping you pretty soon. I'll be like, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, I'm hoping like all these encounters will have all these people. And then I finally get something out there and it drops and everybody will probably start inviting me back on their shows again. You know, I was like, oh, talk to my manager. But Frog Tony, I'll come on your show, man. You ain't got to talk about it. I go to the Frog Tony show, you know, anytime, any day, you know. But yeah, so I did that. I did a full anime. I just actually posted that up on X, you know, the full what I've done. I mean, it's just basically just a teaser clip. That's all it is, you know, of my idea of what the show should be about. The main two characters is the guy who has to go into the Void Forest to get his halfling sister out to safety because she was kidnapped and she's been stuck there. And he had to go in there and get her. And when he went in there with some people who backstabbed him. And what happened is while they were in there and while he was getting backstabbed, the real monster showed up, fucked up their helicopter, and that's how the little girl and her brother got stuck there. You know, now they got to fight their way out of the fucking forest. But he got backup coming and shit. But it's a whole story, man. One of these days, I'm going to actually do a video where I explain Demon Hunters Guild. But I had stopped working on that too. So I stopped working on that. I did a couple of little bullshit here and had these videos. And then I said, I think it's time for me back in August to go back and work on Archive Infinity. So I started with Archive Infinity. From the ground up, I redid a lot of animation. I took a lot of the original animation, redid it. And some of the stuff I liked, I kept. Did new scenes. I wrote a brand new script. I added new characters. And I've just been working on it ever since. You know, I've hired this one girl as the voice of my main character. I'm looking for other people. If anybody out there has any acting ability whatsoever, let me know. Let me know. I mean, I will try you out, one of my characters, you know. And I've been working on that. That's what I've been working on for like the last few months. And we got a comic book show in May, which is going to have some actors from the DC Justice League Unlimited. They're going to be there. So hopefully I get a chance to talk to them, you know, sit down and talk to them and ask them about acting and stuff like that, you know, because I'm not good with hiring people to act. I will pay somebody and get the lines back and they total garbage. And the thing about it is that I try to do as much directing as I can, but like some of it works, some of it don't. But I need to get into more actor directing than put a more hands-on approach to my actors than what I've been doing, because I've got a lot of oh shit, I forgot about I did that. That's for Pencils Down. I forgot about that. It's for a contest. I don't even know when you're gonna announce the winners of that contest, but yeah, I did that, put that out there for them. Yeah. But so now we're here. We're here now, and I guess you want to talk about Terminator Toad.
Yeah. What's going on with Terminator Toad? That I like it. I know you said we were talking a little bit behind the scenes before the show started. Started off as kind of a joke, but what's the concept behind Terminator Toad?
The concept came from drawing both your character and Ethan's character, and it's like, damn, y'all got the frog thing like down packed, you know, and both of y'all got like these really cool ideas for like frogs. So I was like, but nobody has a toad. So I said, I'll be the first toad of CG, you know.
Well, Joe Ball is King Toad. He don't have a toad, but that's his name.
Oh, there is a King Toad. Oh, okay, I didn't know it was a toad. I mean, only amphibians I knew were.
Well, that's his name, but on X, but I don't think he has an actual toad.
Oh, okay, but then I guess mine is the first toad then. So I did so I just sat down and I had to go and look at a lot of Disney shit, how Disney draw toads and a whole bunch of different animators, see how they draw toads. I do not know how to draw frogs head for any amount of reason. So I went ahead and I just started sketching out. I got it in my sketchbook different shit, and I finally came up with his look. I gave him like a little gold mohawk, this little futuristic looking suit, or a little cybernetic glove, and I gave him this little gun. It's called a Blasto gun. And I was like, but the whole thing about it is to make it look like something that came out the 80s, early 90s. All right, that's the whole thing. So I asked my friend, I was like, yo, man, you think it's possible to get this? I drew him up and I showed to my friends, like, you think we can think we can sell this? You think somebody can actually sell this? And he was laughing, like, man, it's like some turtle shit. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's the thing. I mean, like, ain't been nothing like this in a long time. Not since we were kids. He was like, yeah. So yeah. I handed it to him. I handed him like the drawings and stuff like that, because like I was actually like drawing this guy on streams and shit, and people kind of liking it. People like digging it. Like, oh, I kind of like that. That looks kind of cool. I was like, okay, let's run with it. So I went more into the designs and started drawing some more. And I got like maybe like 3 or 4 pages of drawings of this character, and I sent it to my friend. And like I said, he does nothing but pitch movies and shit like that. He pitches TV shows, movies. He does a lot of stuff for PBS, all that type of shit. So, and one thing he does now is that he uses AI for his pitches. He actually take an idea, type it into AI. I mean, I don't know how to use AI. He does. He knows how to use it. By this video, he obviously knows how to use it better than me. So he had made like these renders for me, these AI renders, and he's like, "What do you think about this?" I looked at it. I was like, "Oh, this looks fucking awesome, dude." I was like, "How the fuck you get the look and everything?" It's like, man, it's easy. I say, could you make some more of these? Because I think I could make a fucking like a little teaser, a little teaser burn. He's like, sure. So he went ahead and he went out. I drew some more designs for the weapon and his cape and all the other shit. And he sent me. He started sending me like these 3 and 4 second clips. And I just started putting together, and I went over and made a little song for it. I used this AI program to make a song for it, and I put it together. I edited. What you're seeing right is what I edited. I edited all that stuff down, and then when I showed it to him, I was like, "Here you go, man. This is the fruits of my labor." And he was like, "Oh, this is dope." I was like, "Yeah, it's dope, dude. Like show it to somebody. People like, yeah, I'll show it to somebody." So he's peddling it. He's showing it. He's showing it. He's taking it places like PBS, kid shows and shit like that. So I don't know. Something this all started off as like a little joke, and
something might come from it. You never know.
What
would be the story? What would be the?
Well, if you listen to the song, it's about a guy who it's about a race of evil amphibian toads. They're called amphibians, and they had make these like robots. These robots are going around like terrorizing the planet, taking over and shit like that. And what happens is that this guy called Jeffrey Coleman, infuses himself with toad DNA, because with toad DNA he can use his quantifier nano fist and open up portals to go into the past or go into the future, go anywhere in time he wants to. You go to other dimensions. But the only reason why he can't do it in a human form is because human skin can't it's something about human skin that doesn't work on a quantum level, but for some reason toad skin works. So he infuses the body, turns himself to a half man, half toad, and he starts to go back into time. He gets here and his he gets back to like our current time. And what happens is that his nano machine doesn't work. It stopped working, and he has to figure out a way to get it working again. But the thing about it is that the time he arrived in is when the bad guys show up. But the bad guys are like doing shit, like underhanded shit, like going they
haven't conquered the planet yet. Huh?
They haven't conquered the planet yet, but they're here and they're working inside. Nobody knows they're here, but he knows they're here. Due to his toad vision, he can see these guys. So his whole thing is to go around and try to stop the invasion, right? Because in the future where he's from, they said somebody showed up in the world's darkest hour and brought light to the world and saved us all from the toad invasion, from the amphibian invasion. So that's basically what the story is. I tried to be as heroish and 80s as I possibly could be with it, as the idea, and put it all into the song. So the story is basically the song. So Terminator Toad is here to save the day, folks. And but if it wasn't for me drawing Cyberfrog and drawing Fabulous Frogman, I probably would have never came up with this idea. I probably would have just like never thought of it, But I'm like, everybody has a frog hero, everybody has an amphibian hero, and I'm like, it's time for me to make one. It's time for me to make one so I can be cool, So that's what I did, and I had fun doing it, I haven't drawn nothing since, because I haven't been really thinking about that. I've been thinking about other stuff, like my scripts and stuff like that for archive and other things. But, yeah, man.
Well, Ethan says that there's too many frogs. That there's too many frogs and amphibians in the Comicsgate independent comic scene. I think there's not enough. There's never enough frogs.
Well, my thing is that like he's a human. He's a half human, half frog, right? A toad, I mean, and he can turn back into a human. He can turn back into a human if he wants to, But the toad part is just like where he gets like most of his powers and shit from. He's super strong, super fast. He's smart. He's smart. He can make his own weapons and stuff like that. But like I said, there are too many frogs. But I wouldn't mind to be more unique. Because I think everybody's character. I think I forget. Is your character is a man who turns into a frog, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My character is a man who turns into a toad. So
he doesn't. It's weird, right? Because I don't want to like give too much away. But he doesn't turn into a frog. It's more akin to like how Thor, Donald Blake turns into Thor.
Yeah. Well, my character is different, because like I said, he's infused with Toad DNA, so that gives him the ability to have when he wants it, when he needs it to merge or become a Toad, so he can like use his quantum, his nano fist, so he can like do other things because. His nano fist enhances his Toad power more than it enhances human side, So when it comes to fighting and battles and stuff, he will turn into a Terminator Toad to take on robots. See, the bad guys are robots, because the robots are able to travel through time, because no human flesh is on them, so they send these robots back, and he's fighting robots because when you're dealing with kids. Cartoons and toys, you can't have them like killing people and humans. So I figured I'll use the whole robot side of it, like have them like send the robots back. But there is one bad guy. He is in the clip. He's a little short, little toad, and he has like the same hairdo, the same thing. He's wearing all black.
I was wondering why it looked different. I was like, it's just AI,
right? Yeah, he's the bad guy. He's the main bad guy, little shrimp, dictator, because he came from the future. But he found out that he needed that serum to transform him into, he needed that process, turn him into a half man, half frog, so he can go back in the future, so he can direct his robots. So he injected himself with the same stuff, and he went back in time, took some robots, and he took this one robot that creates all the robots, and he took them back in time. But think about this is that the power source that he has in their timeline, and the power source in our timeline, it's going to be like 200 or 300 years before we're able to get our hands on that power source, because that power source came from space, right? It was a meteor that crashed on this planet, meteorite that crashed on this planet, which gave us this fucking shit that we use in modern day. So we don't have that here. All we have is the shit that he came with, and he can't go back because he don't have enough energy to get back. Same thing with Terminator Toad. He can't get back. He can only be where he is until they find a way to get this energy thing. So, but the robot runs the energy. So what he does is he's like the equivalent is a nuclear reactor. So he forms a nuclear. So he goes out and he gets this he finds a way to trick people into giving up their property so that he can build a nuclear power plant, a little small, just big enough to run his robot to make other robots with. And he becomes like this little nasty little real estate guy, in his high rise. But it was pretty funny. All the stuff we thought about the story. But I think going forward, we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens with this. I still like to draw them. I would like to do a collage, do a Terminator Toad, Fabulous Frogman, and maybe get Cyber Frog into a collage, standing together, shaking hands.
You gotta get Ethan's approval. You're like,
hey, man, what's up with that? You get Ethan's approval to draw his character now? Whoa, that's gonna hurt fan art, ain't it?
Well, I think if you're gonna use it in a monetary way,
No, I know it won't be monetary. It just be just having shits and giggles. I've been doing that a lot lately, man. I've been like trying to promote people's comics and stuff like that. So I've been like drawing people's characters. You know, I drew a Pigman the other day. I drew Vernella. I forgot Venarella. I drew her. I drew somebody else's character. I can't remember who it was. I think I drew Andrew's character once. So but every time I drew pencils. I pencils. I mean, just started pencils down. So I'm doing this thing to like promote people's comic books by doing like drawings, like sketches and drawings of them, and like putting their links of the character in their putting the links right in my boss's script. That's a Jesus.
Yeah. so I wanted your opinion on this. We're both. I'm conservative. From my understanding, you are liberal, left.
Yeah.
So I figured we could both watch this video and give our opinions on it.
Oh, that's that senator, the congresswoman who has the purple hair. She used to go with that hairstyle. Like,
so again, yeah, we're both older gentlemen, right? You know, I'm like I said, I'm gonna be 44.
Right.
You're in that same age demographic. We're definitely not Gen Z kids.
Yeah, so, I got you by 6 years, kid.
I didn't want to say. I figured you're like 50, but so I figured we watch this and we give our adult opinions on what we're gonna hear and see in this video.
Okay.
All right, so let me just bring it back to 0.
Yo, this is the Ranking Rizzler on appropriations, serving Connecticut's 3rd District.
So right off the bat,
did she just say yo?
Yeah, she said, yo, this is the Ranking Rizzler.
Well,
she might as well just came out and said, hello, fellow kids. Hello, fellow kids. How you doing?
Like Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
Hey,
also, I don't know what's with these fucking senators. And it's both sides, right? Those mics that they're using are not supposed to be held. You're just supposed to pin them on. To like lapel.
Yeah.
And then
maybe she ain't got nothing to pin it on.
No, she does. She could just right here, anywhere on her neck, on her shirt or whatever.
Her neck choker or something.
Yeah.
Huge earrings.
It's time to enter your dark academia Congress era. All right, besties. House appropriations with the money moves in Congress. We are not chasing.
Moves. House appropriations, the money moves in Congress. Come on, besties. I thought this was a good idea. Who was like, hey, you know what we need? This 90-year-old congresswoman to start talking.
They could find it could get like AOC somebody like appropriate to do this. I mean, yeah, this is going to sell that younger generation. You know, God damn.
The bag. We are the bag.
They're not chasing the bag. They are the bag. Look at her.
It's like I feel like I'm watching Skeletor right now. But I don't know. Man. I don't think this was the. I mean, I know they're trying to make the Democratic Party be hip and cool, but the problem is that they need to start showing that those congressmen who are the appropriate age to do this type of shit. You know, because all this doing is just turning off young people. I
don't think there is anyone though. Even AOC, I think she's the youngest, but even her, she's like 30 something, right?
She's like she's 30. It's some other guy. It's some newer, younger.
There's no way. This is Gen Z. In my opinion, this is Gen Z language. There's nobody in Congress. There's never going to be. There's not going to be like a 16-year-old congressman. This is not your language. No. Don't talk like this. Yeah. You sound like an idiot.
Yeah, they're trying to get those 18 to 34-year-olds back. That's what they're trying to do. And, this ain't the way to do it. You know, yeah, like I said.
Well, you know what she should have did was here's what you do, right? If you want to do this, you bring her out, right? Mm-hmm. And you do like remember the Key and Peele sketch where like Obama would talk and then the other guy would like be hyped up like,
oh yeah.
Do that, like have her come out and then have like a young kid like, I'm gonna make sure that the kids understand my message, and then like the kid like translate it into Gen Z speak. At least it'd be kind of funny, right?
Yeah, I think that would work. That would work, you know.
But this,
Democrats are making life smoother through government funding. It's giving skibbity.
Skibbity.
When was this made?
Recently. This was recent.
I mean, Democrats ain't doing shit, but being like babies crying on the sidelines. I mean,
What are you talking about? She just said they're so skibbity. Look at they're skibbity.
They ain't doing shit. They haven't done nothing. They're not doing a damn thing right now, but sitting back and complaining. They're not actively going out and talking to anybody. I mean, if this is the best they can do, talking to that crowd they're trying to get, they're failing. They are failing. I mean, keep playing. Keep playing.
So Sigma, main character energy. But Republicans' Project 2025 is mad sus.
Oh my
Eliminating the
God.
Department of Education? Negative aura points.
Negative aura
points. Shit. You know, it's hard being a lefty these days.
Are we sure she's a lefty? I'm almost, whoever wrote this script, that Gen Z person was definitely a Republican. Like, we're gonna make.
They had to be. They had to be. They had to be. Like, hey, what can we do to make Democrats look stupid today? Oh, I know. You know,
we're gonna convince my boss to come out there and say, "So Sigma energy, skibbity toilet, kids." Look at us, I'm so hip.
Yeah, but like, god dang, man. You know, it's like this type of person, I guarantee, ran track with Moses back in the day. You know, shit. Jesus, man. Yo, man. Come on,
Basically, the biggest phantom tax on the environment, on your education, and your rights. Big L posting it online, buddy.
If she asks the chat if she's cooked, I'm done. I'm just gonna lose it. Oh shit,
dude! I was done when she said Project 2025. Like, listen, if you that's over with. The debate for Project 2025 is over with. It's being implemented right now. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But it's mad sus.
It's mad sus. Like, no, it's not mad sus. The shit's going on right now. We're seeing it in action. I ain't saying sus. I mean, Jesus.
Democrats understood the assignment, but go off. See how I keep you informed? Very cutesy, very demure.
Very cutesy, very demure.
Yeah,
y'all just handed us the election. I hate to say it.
We did. We just love to do it. We like, we're going to sit back and complain, and that's it. God damn it, man! Why? Oh, I'm done, man. I'm done. I don't even. I think at this point, I'm just gonna just sit at home and just wait for you all to just take over.
Might as well. Just enjoy it.
Well. Let's go and enjoy it. I've been enjoying it so far. I mean, I'm like, oh well. Trump did what? I don't care. Yeah, man. The only problem I have is Elon Musk. That's the only problem I have right now. I mean, I don't care about Trump. It's Elon Musk. Why the fuck is he? Who voted him in? You know, get him the fuck out of there. He does not know what he's doing. He does not know what he's doing.
That's an opinion to have.
Well, here's why. You know, I believe if you fought for our country, you took bullets for our country, you come back from these wars or whatever that we put you in. Did you sign up? You know, some people have to sign up, you know, to go to put their service in, our blood and treasure. I believe once you get back over here, we should be able to take care of you. You know, I don't believe we should sit back and villainize you because you're a veteran and we have to provide services for you. I don't think these people are not villains. And Elon Musk has turned our veterans into fucking villains, saying that they're costing us money when they put their lives on the line to keep our democracy, you know, in check, to make sure that, you know, we are forced to be reckoned with. And then you sit back here and you sit back and say, like we don't need veterans doing this. You know, they're DEI hires. No, veterans aren't DEI hires. They are our veterans. They put themselves before us, not before their race or color or creed or whatever. These are people who will die for us. And
it's so weird to hear you saying all this, WunGun, because usually it's like the right that's like, yeah, fucking veterans, the army and all that, and the left's like, boo, we don't like you, baby killers, get out of here.
Right.
Now it's like flipped. It's a really weird dynamic.
Yeah, but the thing was, I have family who are veterans, you know, and I would hate to see them say that they lost their job or they can't have their benefits or they can't get the help they need, they can't get the therapy and shit, because these people come back from these war zones and they have serious issues, you know. And we, as tax-paying citizens, owe them a debt of gratitude. So for Elon Musk, a guy, South African, not even an immigrant. He's not even American. He has never been. We understand that he immigrated to Canada, then came down here. He has Canadian citizenship, but he's over here in America. He's an immigrant. Standing beside the president, telling the president what needs to be cut, from our social structure, And think about this: one of the things that they're attacking and hitting hard is the veterans. I think that's wrong. That's evil, and they need to get rid of them. And not only that, it's like I think everybody here has an elder, right? A grandma, great aunt, people that
no more. They all.
But the ones that are still here need Medicare, right? I mean, my mom, he's
not doing anything to Medicare. So here's, I think there's some misunderstandings and some, I don't want to say misinformation. I hate that word, but definitely I think people are not really getting what the point is, right? So obviously, I don't think Elon Musk necessarily wants to get rid of things that are helping veterans, things that are helping the old people and stuff like that. What I think he's doing is going, look, these services that we're providing are costing way too much. Like there's a cheaper alternative. We can do this other thing, right?
Yeah.
And it looks like so like you get the news and they'll report like, oh, he slashed this thing, right? But they don't talk about the stuff that they're using to
Right. Agreed. But it's the whole thing about it is that the way he came in and did it is the wrong way, right? He came in and what he does is he just shuts it off.
I don't think there's a right way because again,
no, there is no right. There is no right way. That's why we have a Congress. That's why we have three branches of the government. We got three branches of the government that does all the legislation and shit. They're the ones.
But this isn't legislative. This is all.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. All the changes that he's trying to make to, especially the veteran services, Medicare, Medicaid. Not they say he's going to do it. Needs to be done through Congress.
Not really. That's the thing. Some of the things that he's doing again, Congress is saying we need. They approved Medicaid, right? They approved the system and everything, right? But that doesn't dictate how it operates or how it functions. Or
that's the executive. That's the executive part. That's the president.
Right, and so that's why he's making.
But he's doing this in a way. But he's especially veterans. So he's doing it to the veterans. He's doing it in a way to where it's almost not functional, right? He's doing it in a way to slow the process down, to give veterans their help. Instead of going in, taking a real experienced team to go in and do the correct audits and stuff to see what needs to be really cut and what needs to be taken care of or done better. He's not doing that. He's just doing an all-around knife through it. And not knife as a killing it, but to a point
chainsaw. He's taking a chainsaw.
He's taking a chainsaw through it, and that's not the appropriate way to do it. Because what it does is taking a chainsaw through it, you're hurting people, And like I said, my family members know people that went over to the Gulf War, Afghanistan, back to Iraq, and some of these people have seen shit and done shit, and they come back. And these people have issues. Don't let motherfuckers sit back and tell you like, oh, it's just an act. No, this shit ain't an act. These motherfuckers will be dead asleep, wake up, cold sweat, trying to grab a gun. All right, this shit is for real.
PTSD joke. But here again, I'm gonna push back a little. And somebody who's fiscally, conservative. I'm socially liberal, fiscally conservative, right? Mm-hmm. I think that we've all acknowledged that the government is spending way too much. The government is overspending on a lot of things. And I would rather look the way the government has ran, the way the government has done things traditionally is never worked. Right. So if we do it the way you're saying, like, oh, we go in there, we do it the proper way and everything. Right. I think we're just going to end up in the same place that we've always been. This way, if you just slash it, like this is something like it's unprecedented, it's never been done. Yeah, so let's try this. Let's just slash all this shit, and then when the dust settles, we'll rebuild with a new foundation.
Yeah, I mean, just make sure you ain't got no stock in Tesla because have you seen Tesla stock lately? Go and take a look at it.
Bitcoin went down a little bit too, but I mean, it's the same thing with immigration. Look, obviously, I'm Mexican.
What? You're a what?
I'm a
When
Mexican.
When this happened?
When I was born in 1981.
Oh, okay. Damn.
But so I'm Mexican. I understand. I got family. I make jokes with everybody. And, we talk about calling immigration on the uncles and everything. Right? But at the end of the day, I don't obviously want my family deported and things like that, right? But
nobody does.
I have to. You have to acknowledge that. Yeah, it sucks, right? A kid born here is a United States citizen, 100%.
Regardless,
if their parents are illegal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't reward somebody because their kid is now a citizen, right? Oh, well, you broke the law. You snuck into the country illegally. You've been here illegally for years. You've never paid taxes. You've never contributed to the system. You've taken from the system because, not because you're a scumbag or anything, but because in order to stay out of the immigration and not be deported, you had to work under, the system under the table type thing, right? So you haven't been contributing the way you should have, not because you're evil, but because that's how you have to live in order to not be deported, right? Yeah. And so your kids are born here, they're citizens. But does that mean we're going to forgive everything you've done because
no. What needs to be done is like those people who have their child over here, their child is an American citizen, they need to get to a point in their lives where they're going to have to go to immigration and become legal citizens. I mean, those people actually need a pathway to citizenship. I mean, that's the only way. Only we're going to fix this is to just like.
Well, we got to send them back first and let them come.
Yeah,
it's the same way. Like I always say this to like Disney, right? Like if you sneak into Disneyland, right? If I go sneak into Disneyland with kids, right? They don't go, well, your kids get to stay because they're little, they don't know any better. No, they get rid of us all, right? They
take y'all out.
They don't go, well, Tony, we're not going to arrest you because if we arrest you, your kids have nowhere to go. No, we go, we're going to arrest you because you did something, and we're just going to figure out what to do with your kids afterward, right?
Right.
It's the same thing. You guys got to realize, and it's sad. You'll have the kid come on TV, and the kid will be crying. They'll try to pull at the heartstrings, and oh my God, don't deport my dad.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on, don't do that shit. Don't like look. It has to be. I know people. I'm not conflating that this is the same thing as the Veterans Affairs. I'm just saying that there's things that are happening within the government that have ran a certain way, and now we're trying to like 180 it and go, hey,
trying to fix it. But like I said, I think both sides can probably sit down and work this out. But it's just the detractors or the people who have
detractors. Can you imagine if Trump said that? And fucking detractors are.
Yeah, that'd be funny as hell. I would laugh. I would just have to like tape that and just play it on a nonstop loop because that shit would be so laughable. But yeah, as far as how shit's going now, the only problem I have is just that fucker Elon Musk. This dude, he wants to. All right, so he wants to cut all these programs, but have more money put to him, putting more rockets up into space that blow up. I don't
think he wants them to blow up.
No, he can't make rockets. Period. He can make a little rocket and take a satellite up, but I'll be very judgmental of him actually making a rocket to put people in, because the way his rockets are designed, you put any person in them, they will cook to death. But the thing about it is that he wants to take over the FAA. He wants his Starlink to take over FAA, and Starlink ain't that type of proven technology. What we have in place for the weather, for weather centers and for FAA, that's proven technology. 50 plus years of proven technology that we can always rely on. His shit has been around for a hot second. We don't know how that shit really works. We just know that it's supposed to work a certain way. We know how the shit that's already established, that's up in order.
Well, look, again, I'm gonna push back at you, WunGun. We don't know shit. I don't know how any of this works. You tell me how the electricity gets from the electrical station to my fucking house. I have no clue. It goes through some wires and does some magical shit. And the TV turns on, right?
Right.
But what I'm saying this to say that it's real easy for us to go, he don't know what he's doing. These things are blowing up with, like, because I don't know what it's doing either, right? Like, I legitimately have no fucking clue how to build a rocket, right? But
me neither. I don't know how to build a rocket.
Right, but isn't it better to like, okay, we send the rocket up and we go, okay, this is the design. Here are all the specs. We set it up, it blew up. Okay, so that's bad. Now we can set up another rocket, change the specs a little. We send that one. Okay, that one didn't blow up, but then it veered off course. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Constantly trying this is how we're gonna get the information. NASA and them didn't send up the first rocket and went, "Yep, that's it, guys. We did it. We don't need to do any improvements. We're good. We figured it out. The system works now." No.
Yeah, but NASA, funny that NASA has the blueprint to send rockets in space, but they know how this shit works.
Yeah, but they have certain rockets, and the rockets are too heavy. And remember,
we're
trying to improve the rocket.
Trying to improve it, you know.
So you got to give Elon some, you know, things are going to blow up, but it's not like he's like, this is what we're doing. Let's send it up. Boom. Oh man, we suck. No, it's like, hey, we got to figure out. Okay, if we do this, is this going to work? No.
Yeah.
Remember, it's easy to put things on paper. It's easy to put an idea out and go, this is supposed to work, right? And then you send it up into an actual test and go, oh shit, something happened. We didn't calculate for this wind resistance. Oh, it turns out that the atmosphere here has got actually a little bit more nitrogen, and that threw the rocket off because we didn't account for that, right? So there's things that you're going to learn from testing that we're not going to learn from ever just writing numbers down. So what Elon's doing, I think, is fantastic. It's his money. Let him like blow up rockets.
No, that's not his. That's not his money. That's $3 billion worth of taxpayers' money. Every time he sends a rocket,
we gave it to him, so it's his money.
Yeah, we gave it to him. Yeah, it's his money, and he's getting more of the money. That's why he's doing all these cuts and stuff, because he wants all that spending to go to Starlink, to SpaceX, and eventually he's going to try to get that money going to Tesla too.
Well, speaking of controversial opinions, moving away from all this so we don't get canceled, but this is a controversial opinion that I kind of share. The iconic Batman story is wildly overrated, and I stand by that opinion. What do you think? Just off the headline, you agree or disagree?
I have to disagree. You know, because that story is really iconic because it went places. That story went places that a lot of fanboys, fangirls were like, yeah, I think this could happen. And what they did, he just made a story out of it. I mean, I think he did it good. He did it tastefully. It wasn't bad, you know.
But is it overrated? That's the thing. You're saying it's iconic, right?
It's iconic, yeah.
They're not saying it's bad, right? Saying something is overrated, and I think a lot of people misunderstand this, right? Saying something is overrated doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that people are rating it higher, right? It's like, you know, this isn't a 10. This is actually a 9, right?
No, 9. Yeah, exactly.
Saying wildly. So it's like it's actually like a 6 or 7 or an 8, right?
Right. But it's an Alan Moore book, and Alan Moore is one of the most exceptional writers out there. I would say, like, compared to his other stuff, I would say it's not as good as his other stuff, but it is good in a certain way to where it's entertaining. You know, it will keep you engaged. So I would say, yeah, you're right. You know, I wouldn't call it a 10, maybe a 9, you know, something like that. But I wouldn't say that it's not iconic because in a way it is, because it's basically led to other things happening in that universe, you know. So I would say it is. I say it's a nostalgic, iconic story, you know, which may have a flaw to in it, but it's still engaging. You know, it's still engaging story.
Well, let's see what the writer of this article, what was it? I don't want to misquote. This is David Harth. He says, and we're gonna skip the unnecessary shit because, you know, we know what the Killing Joke is. We don't need him to explain to us what the Killing Joke is.
Exactly. Yeah. Fast forward.
Yeah. So it says the Killing Joke is a classic story full of Moore's deft writing and Ballard's eye-catching artwork. For many fans, it earns its place in the pantheon of not only the greatest Batman stories ever, but also the greatest stories in comic history. Period. However, I think it's about time that someone said the obvious. The Killing Joke is overrated. It's an important story that changed the way everyone looked at the Joker and forever changed a big part of the Batman mythos. But much of the story's importance lies less with what it does and more with who created it, and it's time to simply move on.
Yeah, I disagree with that. You know, I totally disagree with that. But go ahead, man.
It says the Killing Joke just isn't necessary. So let's just get this out of the way right off the bat. Batman: The Killing Joke is an example of the comic medium done right. It's written by Moore, who is considered by man, I think about many to be one of the greatest writers in the history of the comic medium. Moore doesn't have the ability to write a bad comic, and that's definitely on display here. But Ballard's art is the real star of the story. Every page is a visual feast. And Ballard's pencils definitely bring the script to life in a way that no other artist could. Ballard's work is what makes The Killing Joke into something special. Honestly, I've always felt that if anyone other than Ballard drew this story, it wouldn't be the blockbuster that it is. However, The Killing Joke is a relic that really isn't necessary anymore and may never have been necessary. Let's start with the Joker. The Joker is Batman's greatest foe. Their war against each other is one of the most important parts of the Batman mythos. I don't. I disagree with this kind of. Like, I think it is now. I think the Killing Joke has turned it into one of the greatest parts. But I really don't think that the Joker was it like that. It wasn't really a necessary like dynamic between the two, right? He was a good villain.
He's a good villain. I think what the Killing Joke did to Joker was just change the way they interacted with each other versus how they were. I think it really evolved the relationship of how Batman should really see Joker as the heartless motherfucker that you're gonna get to a point that you should kill him, but you gotta pull yourself back from it to save your own humanity because it goes against everything you stand for, right? So Joker did some vile shit in Killing Joke, right? And Batman got to a point that he's like, it's time to kill this motherfucker, but he didn't.
You know what's the one thing that Joker actually disavows? WunGun?
What?
Nazis. No, really. There's a crossover.
Really?
Yeah, in the Marvel DC crossover, the Joker meets Red Skull, and he's basically like, "You're a fucking Nazi. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like we're not the same. Like, I kill people indiscriminately. You just like you're a fucking Nazi."
Yeah. Well, shit. Hey, you get one up in my book, Joker.
Yeah, I don't know if it was put in there as like a cheeky little like joke or something, but it was a.
That's funny.
It was definitely like look, he hates Nazis.
A homicidal maniac who will kill anyone, any place, anytime. Who's done first vicious, vile shit to people, hates Nazis. Ironic. That's funny.
It says their war against each other is one of the most important parts of the Batman mythos. They are two sides of the same coin, with Batman representing order and Joker representing chaos. For many fans, the Killing Joke is the definitive Joker story, as it presents a possible origin for the character. However, ask yourself this question. Has anything ever really been done with Joker's origin that is interesting? Have the Killing Joke's revelations led to anything better, or are they just kind of there? Personally, I look at it as the latter.
Well, I think in the Killing Joke, Joker went places that nobody thought he would. You know,
well, they're just talking about the origin here.
The origin, yeah. But like I said, you know, it after reading that series and actually watching the animation from Warner Brothers, it kind of like changed my view of Joker, because Joker is not a happy, smiley guy who robs banks and tries to terrorize like Batman. He is a fucking malicious motherfucker. You know, he's a killer and a rapist too. You know, he's everything a vile person is. You know, person you really want to like kill. And Batman has to fight his urge to just not kill him. You know, so it does. It really did change the way I look at the Joker now.
I think his origin of being, you know, just failed comedian, Red Hood, and all that. Mm-hmm. It's good, but they pretty much disregarded it. Like, no, it's not true. Possibly true. Maybe some of it is true. Like, they don't want to commit to like this being the definitive Joker origin. Yeah. Now they got the 3 Joker thing, and then they did some other shit.
Yeah. They had Joker as the original Red Hood at one time. You know, they do a lot of crazy shit. You know, they need DC's one of those comic book companies that need to really find a continuity and fucking stick with it. You know. Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been more interesting if the Joker. I don't like the Joe Chill, like Joker being the guy that shot Batman's parents, but I could see like where Joker could be connected to the origin of Batman, where it would make more sense. Like maybe Joe Chill bumped into the Joker, or you know.
Yeah.
Perhaps, you know, Joe Chill was like, hey, how do I get to the movie theater? He's like, hey, if you cut down that alley, here's a quicker way, right? Like, inadvertently led to the creation of Batman, right?
Led to Batman. But I think that was in like I think this is more of like the TV series that started from the Bruce Timm Batman series that actually went down that road of like Joker was the one who killed his parents, which was at the time a cool concept. You know, which will lead to this lifelong rivalry, you know. And my whole thing is that they never explain if Batman knew this or not. I mean, the whole time, even today, I don't think Batman even knows. I mean, from like, we're talking about from that origin, Batman knew that the Joker had anything to do with his parents' death. I don't read Batman, but I think it would be cool if Batman finds out, because that would really test him to go and kill that motherfucker.
Yeah, well, psychologically, they say that if you relive a moment in your mind over and over again, the more you relive it, the more it changes. So your memories actually will change in your mind if you keep going over them, because you're going to influence them with your thoughts. Like, like there'll be an accurate, like, let's say your mom is upset, right? And the reality might be she's upset because she got a bad phone call from her sister, right? But you, as someone who don't see that part of the reality, you just saw that she was upset. So you're thinking, oh, she was upset because I didn't clean my room. Right. And slowly over time, as you remember that moment, it becomes the fact. She was mad because I didn't clean up my room. And now you become obsessed with cleaning up your room, and you become room cleaner man, right? Like,
right.
So Batman seeing that his parents dying all the time in Crime Alley, the actual reality of what happened could be wildly different from what Batman remembers it.
Well, anyway, that is true.
Moving on, it says, does the Joker having a sad sack origin made the character? Man, whoever wrote this doesn't speak English. He does Eric July English. It should say, does the Joker having a sad sack origin make the character any better? Have there been an amazing story built around the idea? I'd argue that giving the Joker any kind of origin was a huge mistake. Look at 2008's The Dark Knight. One of the best parts of that movie is the way it shows us the Joker's origin is meaningless. The Joker isn't his past. He's the bloody present, and that's the important part. I think that's bad. I think the fact that showing the Joker having an origin, just being a normal guy, like, he's not special. He's just a guy who just one day snapped. I think that's more powerful than who knows?
That would go like to character building, wouldn't it? If like how does some ordinary guy start from here and wind up being like this totally nasty, vile villain for Batman? I mean, that's the story right there, because like, how do you go from this to this? People want to know. You know, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, that's appealing. That's appealing to the audience, that to go into a character and tell its origin. You know, and if you do it right, you have legacy shit right there.
It says there's also the matter of the Killing Joke's most controversial element, the shooting and paralysis of Barbara Gordon. The mean-spirited destruction of Barbara Gordon is looked at as one of the Joker's most terrible acts, but DC has spent years walking it back because it was a mistake. It's something that has long been met with criticism, not just for Barbara's injury, but the sadistic things Joker does to her in addition to that. Looking at the Killing Joke objectively, it's easy to see how much of the story just exists for shock value. There is some of it. I would say I would agree that there's some shock value, but you need that.
I think that's what makes that story so different from other Batman stories, because that happened. You know, nobody was expecting that shit to happen, and it did. You know, and it's totally off of what regular people who are into the Joker versus Batman scenarios. You know, Joker does something, Batman stops him. Joker really does something so heinous that it's worth him getting his teeth bashed in and his neck snapped off, but Batman doesn't do it.
Well, I think this is why the Killing Joke is kind of necessary, right? Because it takes Batman from the cartoony level of they're committing crimes and it's kind of goofy.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, wait a minute, we might not see it all the time, right? We might not realize it, but the Joker is actually out there like raping people. The Joker's out there, you know, committing horrendous acts that, you know, off screen they might be, but they're happening, and that's why he's such a bad person, right? Like, just seeing, oh, look, the Joker kidnapped 3 people and he tied them up with these water balloons that's gonna melt their face off, but you know, Batman saves them, so it never happened. But off screen, he totally did this other shit that is now like horrific. So I think that's why it's necessary. The Killing Joke.
The Killing Joke is necessary to push these characters to places where they haven't been before, and I think that's why this book was made. I think they got Alan Moore, the perfect person to actually push these characters, because this from what was out before this was a big push. I mean, this was like revolutionary to the whole story of how Batman and Joker are seen, because after this story, they are both seen in a different light now. He's not seen as the happy, smiley crook who does goofy shit with bang guns and shit. Like, he's seen as a vicious, murderous psychopath. You know, I think after this story, he was more of a psychopath than he was before. You know.
So The writer goes on to say that they think that basically everyone just because of Moore and Ballard, their prestige, that they give the story more prestige. I could see that. I could understand that. I would say that
Yeah.
it is not the greatest story ever written. It's a great Batman story. It is very pivotal to the Batman mythos and everything. Iconic, classic. People know it. It's got great imagery. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't say like if in a vacuum, it's not like the best story ever, right? It's not the best written. It's not the best.
No, it's that one. And what was the other one? The other movie, not the other thing. I forgot. It was the other one where Batman was taking on like the families and shit like that. It was on Halloween and something like that.
The Long Halloween.
Yeah, the Long Halloween. That's what it was. That was good. I like that one. That was pretty good. That and like I said, that's another story that was needed because he fights crime. So it would be necessary for them to explore how he fights against the crime, the mob, and shit like that. Because, I think for a long time, Batman was fighting like these superhumans and shit like that, but not really the crime, right? Supervillains commit crime, but not like organized crime, not fucking malicious killers and shit like that. So a lot of this shit has to be dark because this is a dark noir character. And he needs to come across situations where he's dealing with people who kill, they rape, and all this shit. And up until then, there wasn't really that. There was like, oh, Batman has to take on this villain or this villain. But now it's changed. Now this whole thing, the Killing Joke, has changed Batman. It changed him into a more deeper character, especially the Joker. Joker is now a little bit more deeper than he was at first, but it's turned him into something a little bit more, that has more levels to it.
Nuance. All right. Guys, we've had a fantastic conversation with a very talented man by the name of WunGun. Go check out his channel. Check out what he's working on. Look forward to seeing Terminator Toad on Amazon right next to Invincible. It's gonna happen.
Hopefully.
And like I said, this is the last free episode. Hopefully you enjoyed these 5 episode previews. You can go back, watch them whenever you want. This is kind of be the format going forward, right? Like, so some episodes, it'll be just me talking and giving my opinions on things. Some episodes we'll have special guests that come in and we just sit there and have a conversation with them. And other times we'll have people come in that we do talk to them and then they give their opinions on some of the things I want to discuss, right? So it is kind of a little loosey-goosey, willy-nilly, depending on who's coming over and what's going on. But if you want to watch them live, same time every week, Saturday, 1:05, you got to be a member now to watch them going forward. And if you want to watch them at any time, you got to be a big $5.99 member, and you'll be given access to them at any time. Watch all the episodes over and over again, replays. Like I said, we're going to have some big guests. We got some people lined up. When I say we, I mean me. I got some people lined up. I got some guests lined up. I got some topics we want to talk about. This was just kind of like a preview, 5 episode preview to whet your beak onto what it is to expect from this. We do ignore the chat. Obviously, we going to do that still going forward. We might read some old comments. We might read some old things left, super chats or whatever on forward episodes, going forward. And of course, every episode except for this one and the last one, we'll have a review. We didn't get a review in because it's been 2 hours and that's the time limit. But I will put up a review separate. I will go ahead and make that review video so that way you still get the review of what if Uncle Ben died, or not Uncle Ben, Aunt May died instead of Uncle Ben, right? So basically, what if Uncle Ben lived? And my take on that, and it is, spoiler, not good. All right, guys. As always, love, peace, booty grease. We out this bitch.